I locked myself into one lens for an entire year. No zoom, no backup, just this 50mm. My friends thought I'd gone mad, and they were right. But I've learned more about photography than I had in a decade. There comes a point in every photographer's life, usually around 3 AM, scrolling through eBay, searching for a lens you can't afford to shoot things you'll never see, when you have to admit you have a problem. This is not a collection. This is a museum of poor financial decisions. Every bit of kit here represents a genre I dabbled in for a week. A problem I thought I could buy my way out of. A moment of weakness sponsored by a YouTuber with offensively white teeth. This one? Bought it drunk. Genuinely don't remember the checkout process. This one? Panic bought during a creative block. Turns out you can't purchase inspiration. Who knew? So I staged an intervention on myself. Because I've burned through most of the friends who pretend to care about my creative journey. One camera, one lens, for 1 year. And because I'm a pretentious bastard with unresolved issues, it's a Leica that only shoots black and white. Because I hate myself, but consistently. This wasn't a mindful Zen exercise. This was a self-inflicted prison sentence for being an absolute gear-hoarding weapon. This was my arranged marriage to a 50mm lens. The first few months were tense. You take your new partner everywhere, hoping to find that spark, that connection. But sometimes you end up in places like this, the breathtakingly average Japanese countryside, and you realize you have absolutely nothing to say to each other. And this is when the panic sets in. My old self would have just slapped a 70-200 and blurred his entire crime scene into an artistic smear. It whispers promises of creamy bokeh. You think you can point it at this rusty K truck over there and suddenly you're a genius. But it's a lie. It's an optical onanism. Using shallow depth of field to blur out the background is like having a superficial relationship. You focus on one particular detail while ignoring the rest of the package. 50mm at f8 forces you to see the entire picture. The baggage, the flaws, the uninspiring Tuesday nights. So, I did stop down to f8, and the boring bits stayed boring, but at least they were honestly boring. The concrete, the mediocrity behind it, all in sharp, unforgiving focus. So I had to find an actual composition. Or give up and go home. Which I did for 3 weeks. But when you've sold a kidney for a camera and a lens, you can't let it become a shelf ornament. So you surrender and you go back again. There's that Bruce Lee quote about fearing the man who's practiced one kick 10,000 times. I spent the first few months trying to be the 10,000 kick man with a one kick too. But you can't fight it. Eventually you have to give in. You stop fighting. You accept your fate. And you just start practicing. That one kick, that one frame, that one way of seeing, over and over and over. This temple doesn't change. The location doesn't change. The leaves do. And by the end, you're not thinking about the place anymore. You're just seeing what is there. That's what happened with the 50mm. I stopped thinking about the focal length and started just seeing the frame. Day 54. I stopped photographing anything bigger than a bicycle. My creative world has shrunk into whatever fits 50mm frame. I've intentionally developed a tunnel vision, which is like marrying your cousin because she lives within a walking distance. Day 93. My nephew's 5th birthday. Everyone got their phones out, getting the cake, the decorations, the whole room. Me? Everyone, Move 3 steps back. Jackie, the cake's too close. Billy, move out of the bloody way. I bumped into a child dressed as Peppa Pig. My sister said, maybe you should have brought a different lens. A different lens. A different lens. Jackie, I'm out here trying to reach creative enlightenment through suffering, and you're questioning my monastic vows. Anyway, she hasn't invited me to a family gathering ever since. Billy's probably graduated university by now. I hope his photos are blurry. I hope they were taken on an iPhone 6 with a cracked lens. I'm not bitter. After about 10,000 frames, something changes. You start to learn the language. You stop seeing the world. You start seeing 50mm frames. Your feet become the zoom ring. It's a superpower born of pure, monotonous repetition. And the weight, or lack of it. My old camera bag felt like I was carrying collective emotional baggage of everyone I'd ever disappointed. Plus, my ex-girlfriend's unresolved attachment issues. I could walk up the mountain, have an existential crisis at the summit, and still have enough energy left to question all my life choices on the way down. That's freedom. Slightly disturbing freedom maybe, but freedom nevertheless. And at the end of the year, the marriage produced this. A book. 15,000 frames, 4 countries, all 50mm, all black and white. Because I'm nothing if not committed to my own suffering. But look at it. It's coherent, consistent, one voice, one vision. These could be taken on the same afternoon. That's not a limitation. That's a signature. It's kind of like finding out your arranged marriage partner is actually kind of fit. You feel confused, slightly guilty, and, God help me, a bit smug. Turns out consistency is far more important than having a right lens for every situation. Who knew? And it completely rewires your brain. After a year of 50mm, coming back to even a modest 35, it feels like you've taken hallucinogens. Everything's too much, too wide, too much space, too much world, too much responsibility. You've been living in a perfectly proportioned house, and someone grabbed you and shoved you into a Pink Floyd's Laser concert. A salaryman asked if I was alright. I said yes. I was lying. So, what did I learn from my 1-year-long sentence? I learned that limitations are a gift. That creativity isn't about having infinite choice. It's about what you do when you have no choice at all. This arranged marriage that I entered into kicking and screaming, well, it worked. We fell in love. And I'll say that with absolute certainty that I'll live and die by a 50mm focal length. So, my recommendation? Sell all your gear. Chain yourself to a single focal length for a year. Suffer. It's the only way you'll grow. No, don't actually do that. It's a terrible idea and you'll be miserable. But the point is, you spend more time worrying about which lens to use than actually using them. Now, if you'll excuse me, but I think our anniversary is coming up. And you know what they say about 7-year itch. Look at those wide angles, the negative space, environmental context. No, I'm faithful. We'll spice things up, maybe with filters. Ooh, a polarizer.